guys, it's Retro Nerd Girl broadcasting from the International Science Fiction Space Station. Woo! I have no idea what happened just now, but yeah, I'm not feeling very well. But I do have the recording of Gargoyles Week 9, and I'm going to play it in a few moments. This is me and Mama Bear Art Doll, and we're going over the wonderful three episodes 21, 22, and 23, titled Avalon. Oh, these were so good. And I can't wait to watch this along with you. And let me just see. Just wanted to acknowledge the chat. We got Moonbeam who slid in here. Says, "All right, I'll be back in 2 hours to spare to watch GH, and then I'll return for the voyage to Avalon." Awesome, awesome, awesome. We should be expecting you soon then. And Amy Joe is here. Oh my God, so good to see you. I love all your enthusiasm. Oh my goodness, that's so awesome to see you. So great. And yeah. Okay. Says, okay, I'm here now. Yes. And Mama Bear Art Doll's here as well. Okay, so we're going to get the show on the road, and I'm just going to play this awesome video. Get things started. Okay, I'm here with Mama Bear Art Doll, and we are going to be looking at Gargoyle Season 2, Episode 21, Avalon Part 1. Ow, what an episode. Let's put our visual aids up. So we get the previously on before this, which is really just a recap of the time when the castle was attacked by the Viking, the eggs being taken from the rookery, and the Archmage and Macbeth and Demona working together. The episode begins with Goliath and the clan waking up, and Goliath decides to stay in and read a book that he really liked. Bronx stays along with him, but the rest of the clan go out to monitor the city as they normally do. What happens is that a knight shows up in the middle of New York City, and he's immediately attacked by some thugs that are like, which is kind of weird because having lived in New York City, as somebody in armor, not much of a big deal. We usually either take pictures with them or ignore them.
I'm glad you said that, because that was something that really made me chuckle watching it. Because majority of the people he's walking by, they're like, okay. and I know I've said it before, gang, you'll have to get used to me saying this. It's stuff like that. This is exactly why this only works in a big city.
Yes, yeah. A small town, no way. But New York City, oh, he must be going to the fair or something, or he
it
might
would be just as passable here. I mean, you do that, somebody like, okay, medieval times lost a knight.
Yes. So yeah, that's not a big. These guys are just awful, but this knight is no ordinary knight. He takes care of them quite easily. But the cops show up, and the cop take him into the police precinct. Elisa hears about this, and she's so cute. They tell her that this guy is going on and on about gargoyles, and he goes, "Oh, another one of those freaks." So she just plays it off really easy, but it really startles her, and she goes to Goliath.
It startles her because the knight mentions Goliath by name.
Yes.
That's what gets her attention.
Yes, exactly. You're so right. I forgot about that little detail. And she somehow arranges it where the knight and Goliath can meet at Belvedere Castle. And Belvedere Castle is such a sweet little place. I've done so much in that area when I was a lot younger, and when I lived in New York. I threw a birthday party at the little garden behind the castle. It's just a wonderful little place. So they keep referring back to it in the show, and it reminds me of those times. He starts to tell them that he's actually Tom, the little boy that was in the stories back in the 900, and he says that the rookery is in danger. and he begins to tell them stories of what happened after they were turned into stone for 1,000 years. So the eggs, 36 of them, Tom actually promises to protect them. And the princess actually knights him and agrees that he shall protect these eggs, which is really cute, but also like it's actually binding. They actually
Yeah.
stick to this
She,
thing.
the princess genuinely knights him.
Yeah, yeah. I think she was doing it as like a cutesy thing, but
No, I think she was legit.
you think she was
I think she was being legit. I mean, she did pull the knife. I mean, it pulled out a dagger, not a sword, but I think it translates basically the same.
Yeah, yeah. Whether she was serious or not, it is the technical way that you knight somebody. So he's so cute and so willing, and had already before always loved the gargoyles. Always had
He was
been
one of the
like,
few that actually, yeah, was friendly with them.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
happy to
So
see them.
I loved it. It was so appropriate. And the princess goes to her uncle, right? If I'm not mistaken, it was her uncle who takes her in. And unfortunately, the castle is really not safe. They have a character there by the name of Constantine that is really after power. He's doing a lot to manipulate the situation. Yeah, there he is,
Seeing him.
Constantine. He actually kills the king and steals the crown. And he also is trying to force Catherine to be his wife. And there is a young lady there that I didn't catch her name, but she was in love with Constantine, and he was using her a lot.
Yeah,
During.
because the king,
Mhm.
this is a huge, like, we're gonna need like a Venn diagram or something
Ah,
behind
yes.
us. Because the king, Catherine's cousin, he's crushing on the one girl,
Yes.
blonde, whose name we can't remember.
Yeah.
She's crushing on Constantine.
Hmm.
Constantine is only after power, so he's after Catherine,
Yes. Because she's a princess.
basically.
Yeah.
Legitimizes his claim to the crown.
Yeah,
Not that
it's
that's
really
sounding at all like, a certain movie.
quite a few different movies. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely also, feels like when you go back to like Shakespeare and all of the kings, queens, Hamlet story, all that, like the
I was
intrigue.
thinking that this is almost dead on Shrek, too.
A dead on which one?
Shrek.
Oh, Shrek. Oh, I wasn't
It was
even
the
thinking about
same
that.
idea.
Oh, I did not know that. I
He
didn't
was
see Shrek.
trying to lay claim to a crown by getting the princess, who winds up
Oh.
falling in love with somebody else.
I didn't see that, so I'll have to add that to my list of movies to see. Yeah, that this is.
Seriously?
Yeah, no, I have not seen Shrek yet, so I'll have to eventually watch it. Of course, none of nobody who actually likes the other person wants the other. So,
It's like high school all over again.
oh my God. So true. So with the help of her cousin, who really at this point wants revenge from Constantine, she actually gets to escape. The Magus actually accompanies them. There is something there between Magus and the princess. He is definitely in love with her,
He is downright, smitten with her.
and
It's adorable.
it
And
is
she
so
has
cool.
no clue.
I can't believe it. I mean, can't you see what this man is doing for you? But
You know what? I get it. I've been there. I'm sure you have too.
yeah.
Where, like, when you're like up close face to face, you have no clue. You think they're just being friendly. It's not until like after the fact that some friend of yours goes, "He was totally flirting with you."
And you're like, what?
Really? Seriously. I have done that so many times.
Oh man.
That's why I don't question it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true. It's true. And I think that he at this point has the Gamorum with him, and he uses that to fend off of the protectors of the island, which are the sisters. So we're getting kind of a backstory on the sisters here because This is further back in 1,000 years in the past. The thing about it is that they cannot actually go to the island, actually be on the island with that book. There no magic with a K made by human can be allowed on this island. The book cannot go on the island. They have to split up. They give the magic book to
Random blonde who we can't remember her name.
the random blonde, and also Tom's mom goes with them, which is really sad. I was like, oh no. And that was pretty insane. I was like, this is a breaking up people's homes.
No.
But they're doing everything that they can, risking their lives to save these eggs.
The mom does explain to him that part of why he has to go to Avalon with them is because he saw Constantine kill the king.
Yeah.
He's in just as much danger as Catherine and those eggs.
Very much so. I hope his mom is not found out, because then probably kill her as well. But that's that, she disappears from the story at this point.
I don't remember them ever. I'm going through the episodes in my head.
Mhm.
I don't remember ever hearing anything more about Tom's mom or
Oh,
random
good.
girl who we don't remember her name.
Okay, yeah. Because, that's good. That's good. That means that they were okay. And so it goes back to today's time, in which Tom has managed to convince Elisa and Goliath to come with him to Avalon, which he's able to go by sea or by water. And it takes him to Avalon with the use of an incantation, which is pretty cool. I love that. I was like, oh, this is, where are they going to? You could just transport yourself almost anywhere with magic. And
there were some words in there that the sharp-eared, or if you're like me and tend to watch with captions on, it does help, because you do see Oberonis Avalon or Avalonis or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I loved all of that. That was just wonderful. And so while he's in this boat, he explains that time passes differently on Avalon. For every hour spent there, one day goes by in the real world. So he's been coming to the real world every 100 years, which is basically every 4 to 5 days. He's been traveling back to see if the gargoyles had been awakened, which is very interesting. Once they get to Avalon, which is unguarded at this point, Bronx finds the gargoyle has hatched from their egg. And that's pretty. And it's like, what? They're not eggs anymore? There he sees Angela, and I'm not sure if this is
at the end of the first episode, we see the gargoyles peeking over the thing. We're just automatically merging into episode 2.
Season 2, episode 22, part 2. And previously on, it recapped the last episode, and it details the archmage that died. Angela greets them first, and it seems as if these gargoyles have been given names. Goliath is very surprised to this, and they know of Goliath. He's a legend to them. And I suppose that is because of Tom's stories about Goliath. So
yeah, the two we're introduced to initially are Angela and three. Angela, Gabriel, and Boudica, which is the cute little, I'm guessing, female version of Bronx.
Yes. They make friends easily.
Wonder who her daddy is.
Okay.
I'm not going to question Boudica's parentage too much, because I don't think we saw another version like Bronx. I'm sure there was, but it just wasn't part of the main crew.
It's very interesting. We'll just leave that.
Gabriel, however, is very, at least to me, very clearly Coldstone, and thank you, Kat. Coldstone and his mate.
Yes, because he's got the gold hair, and he also has kind of the
spitting image for Coldstone.
Yeah, that'd be cool if they ever got a chance to meet.
That can be a fan fiction type thing.
Okay, not in the story.
Not to my memory.
Yeah, he even has sort of the same kind of voice. I didn't check to see if it was the same actor.
Actually, I thought it sounded a lot like Keith David. Just using, and I
A
noticed
different
that
voice, yeah.
multiple times throughout
Mhm.
these 3 episodes, where I'm hearing his voice, but in less of a Goliath tone, more of
Yes.
his, like, standard talking or a more lighter version of it, because
Yes.
his Goliath voice is definitely him going deeper into the register and playing with that.
When they're in New York, he plays one of the thugs and he plays one of the police guys.
Yep, yep.
And it's really interesting because you one scene you actually hear the two voices kind of
Talking with each other, and it's funny.
yeah, yeah, it worked. It worked.
It works, but in the same respects, like, dude, you're talking to yourself. I love it though. He's got one of those voices I could listen to all day.
And he's still working and doing so much stuff today, which is really cool.
Got one of my favorite Disney songs, so hallelujah.
Yes, yes, that was right. And so now we get to the part that's actually kind of, it was really, this scene I'm going to describe was really, really scary. They're on the beach, and the archmage comes up out of the sand and starts attacking them as like sand creatures and grabbing them from all different parts and ways. It was really, really scary. It was quite a wonderful little bit of action. And then Goliath just rages out on him. And that's the only way that he's able to kind of free himself from the sand and also free everybody else. It was really, really intriguing and fun to watch Goliath kind of go and like Hulk out on him. It was really nice. What were your feelings about the sand action scene with the archmage?
This is actually where I get to use one of your lines that you say a lot. It's one of those that it's kind of like you don't question it, but it is still kind of surreal that this was like a weekday afternoon, if I remember correctly, kids' TV show.
Yes.
Phenomenal action scene, and just the way that he's manipulating with the sand and creating multiple versions of himself. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's something really that when they get to the live action, which I'm hoping they're doing as a TV series, I can never keep it straight in my head
Ooh.
whether it's TV series or movie. I'm hoping it's like a series.
Mhm.
So they get to explore a lot of these stories when they get to this, because this is a pivotal point. This one will have to be done either way.
Mm.
I look forward to seeing that done in real life.
Yeah.
Not real life, but live
In
action.
live action, yeah.
Thank you.
And I think it would be really cool. Like,
Right?
and they can even get even wilder and crazier with it. But the power set of this archmage seems to have risen like 12-fold. Since the last time we saw the mage. Just to see how imaginative and creative they're getting with these action scenes and dealing with magic. Elisa notices that Angela looks a lot like Demona, but has Goliath's coloring. I'm like,
Elisa like starts off with that. And she looks an awful lot like Demona, but with the different coloring.
yeah.
And in like the truly clueless, you gotta love him because he's a big, lovable, clueless giant. But he's like, well, all gargoyle kids belong to everybody. Yeah, but we're talking about this particular one.
Yeah. Oh man, and which is it's very interesting because in his explanation, it kind of talks a little bit more about the way all rally for each other. Like before, they never used names, they never identified each other other than being Rookery brothers and sisters, and which is kind of makes it hard. Like, oh, somebody needs help. Oh, who needs help? Your Rookery brother
hard.
and sister.
And I get it. This is one of those things where it's hard for us to wrap around because names are so central to what we are.
Mhm.
But it was something that worked well with them.
Yes, yes. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating because this is where speaking of this remake, if it is possible to do this, if they could continue this idea, because it is so strange and foreign to humans.
Many things about about original gargoyle culture that we get snippets of here and there would be fascinating to explore.
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely.
You know, if it picks off, it will 100%. There will be at least 1 or 2 YouTube channels dedicated to it, and
I hope so.
when you people do, Mama Bear Art Doll, give me a heads up because I will binge that.
Yeah, yeah. Me too, actually.
So give us a name in the chat, just putting for future.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. I'll pass it on to you because yeah, I hope. And there are some channels. I've seen some channels. I'm trying to avoid them just yet until after I finish the series because they go into full detail about the
Oh, no doubt.
characters and stuff. And so
No
I
doubt.
don't want to. I don't want to, learn too much yet because I want the element of surprise.
I am doing my best to make sure you get as much element of surprise as you can.
Yeah, and these guys don't disappoint.
hard.
I don't know. You could tell
No,
me
no.
anything, but I tell you, seeing some of the stuff play out in itself is just like wow.
Yeah, this is why I do my best to give you as few spoilers as I can. There are some I can't resist.
The next thing that really happens of note is that Tom explains that they have been under attack by Demona and Macbeth under the control over the Weird Sisters. He doesn't know that they're under their control, but we do. And the Archmage at this point is also part of the attack team, if you will, and is wearing the Eye of Odin on his brow and also has the Phoenix Gate and the Grimoire. They don't see the Grimoire, but they know that he's using it. And so there is 2 versions of the Archmage, and I kind of lost track a little bit during the story because I was like, okay, which version is that one, and which version is that one? So I'm gonna call them Archmage 1, 2, and maybe Archmage 3.
I don't
But
think that there's really an art. There's always 2 in play.
yeah.
There's not a point where we get the 3rd one.
Well, I'll explain why my brain created a 3rd Archmage.
I know how your brain is creating because you get the one that we see initially.
We see one initially that seems to be
who is like the master, the one that the oldest of the bunch.
Yeah,
because he's the one that's been through this round the longest, and he guides initially the one. See, he's what we're seeing here, and I'm pointing at the screen, and I don't know why I'm doing it. He guides his older self. He goes back to catch the one who falls in the battle where Hudson lost his eye.
Yeah.
He catches him mid-fall and takes him through this whole, well, this is what we need to do. And I will let you go from here. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way I kind of saw it was because they did sort of a loop-de-loop because they showed you the end first. So the beginning of this is really 2 different Archmages together, and I'll just name them Archmage 1 and Archmage 2 for now. And Archmage 1 seems to be the one that's in charge. Sends Archmage 2 says, "Okay, I'm gonna go do this
remember
thing."
what to do? I mean, I should. I watched you do it.
Yeah. And so Archmage 2, which has gone back in time, rescues himself from death.
Because he falls in the cavern.
Yeah, he falls in the cavern, and this is during the time when Goliath, Demona, and Hudson, and Hudson is still the leader at this point. So he falls into the cavern, saves him from, just before he hits the ground, and then takes him to another time period, which is 995. This is when the eggs were being taken to the island, and just before they got to the island and faced off against the Weird Sisters, they kind of look at all of this going on. The person who I named Archmage 2 is showing that to Archmage 3, which is the old man. Yes, the one with the longer beard, that was just saved from almost dying.
That's the ironic, isn't it? He's looks the oldest, but technically he's the youngest of the 3 of them.
Yes, and I believe it was maybe the power, the magic that was giving him so much more. Gave him a tan and everything.
It was the eye of Odin, because as soon as they put it on its head,
Oh yeah,
he gets the makeover.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. It's the Eye of Odin. And so the Weird Sisters at this point are really upset that they've been beaten by the Magus. They want revenge from that. But also, one of the other reasons why they want revenge is because they can't return to the
Yeah,
island.
he
And
banned them from their home.
yes, and so
I'd be pissed too.
this is really a strong incentive for them to join up with the Archmage. So I love that. I thought that was wonderful. They really set up a great motive, those ladies. All this time, we thought that it was the Weird Sisters doing some kind of incredible plot on their own. They were really working for the Archmage into this joint like revenge power plot, which was I was like, yes, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So the Archmage said to the sisters, wait 25 years and meet up with them again. So in 1020, the Archmage number 2 take 3 to the time before when Demona and Macbeth were dealing with Duncan's trickery. And he tells the sisters, bend the rules and protect Demona and Macbeth so that they will be the future warriors for their revenge. And so they do exactly what they say. This is why we keep in the story of Macbeth, when we were learning about his backstory, we kept seeing the Weird Sisters all through the whole story, you know? And so they were basically protecting them and guiding them into this magical, twisted affair, if you will. Archmage 2 says that they'll meet again in 975 years. And this explains a lot, you know, the invention of the Weird Sister in all of this, you know, that why they're involved. And I loved all of that. What did you think about that?
It's one of those things I do love. It's like the Sherlock movies, you know, the ones with Robert Downey Jr., where it's not until you go back afterwards they explained everything that comes together, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it makes it like watching it the second time even more entertaining. Because sometimes you get the hints of, or the little peaks of this is something that's going to happen, and sometimes it's out of left field.
Oh yeah, yeah. This entertained me so much. I was completely surprised and pleasantly surprised by the twists and turns in the story. The two of them go to not the present day that takes place in the story, but the day before. And I thought I almost laughed when it said yesterday. And so it was like, okay. And so the Archmage decides to take Avalon without waking up the king of the island, because there's a king that lives on the island. They don't tell you who the king is. And at first I thought it was Oberon.
Because they do mention his name a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is the initial assumption. And even after watching it, like this is not my first time watching the Avalon trilogy, you know, 3 episodes. And even still, I've seen this before. I was still thinking it's Oberon. And it's not even until they say who the Sleeping King is. I'm
yes.
like, right.
Yeah. And this is wonderful. That they kept that sort of under wrap.
It was a real misdirection because, like I said, they mentioned Oberon multiple times.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought
it doesn't matter. Like, I'm an avid book reader. I love the more historical fantasy, whatnot type books. I've read a ton of them. I've read these ones, and still my head went Oberon.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought Oberon for sure. And their plan is also to kill any inhabitants on this island. I mean, at least give them a heads up. Hey, we need you to clear out of here. We're taking over the island. They're just gonna kill them. So
y'all are done by sunrise.
yeah, so it was like, okay. The Archmage 2 gives the Eye of Odin to Archmage 3, and he also gives him the Grimorium. He can't take that book to the island, so he makes a comical kind of thing and said, do you want me to eat the book? And sure enough, that's what he has to do in order to get the book inside him. And that's sort of his workaround by breaking the rules. So a lot of this stuff is break the rules to fit their desires. And so now we get to the part where it's a full-on attack on the island, and all of the big action is about to occur. The Archmage also wants Goliath. This is why he waited. He waited because he knew that Tom was going to go get Goliath to bring him to the island. And knowing that this is going to happen, they don't want sunrise is what they're waiting for. And so that is the end of this episode. Yeah. And
I gotta say, him eating the book was totally weird.
that was such a surprise. You know, that was,
The Eye of Odin glow up, sure, no problem. The book thing was weird. I mean,
yeah.
I've joked about, you know, digesting books, but actually to unhinge your jaw snakes style.
I was like, oh boy. Yeah, it was very freaky. It made sense too. You have to be able to do it, but I thought he was just going to absorb it or something, or
The mask, that's what it reminded me of.
oh, the mask. Yeah, I thought he was going to create a spell to absorb the book inside of him, and maybe that would have been more believable. But
that's a spicy meatball. You know?
Yeah. And also, you know, look, you've got the Phoenix Gate. You can hide the book anywhere, anytime. So, you know, that could have been an option for him to do, but eating the book was a little drastic, I think. I think just a smidge. I mean, you could have, yeah, just a smidge. And so we're up to part 3. We're season 2, episode 23. The previously on was basically detailing the episodes before. It didn't really offer anything new necessarily. Goliath, Angela, and Gabriel go out, and they're being followed by Demona. And this is where we get the jalapeno line from Goliath. I was like, jalapeno is now going to be his new word, but that's something that he's saying now. He's like, jalapeno.
It was a little jarring to hear him go to say that, but it also does indicate how much he's been interacting with Elisa.
Yes.
So it's kind of cute in the same respect.
Yes. All right. So yeah, this part was so sad. I felt so bad for the Magus. The Magus explains how he was left out of the relationship.
Yeah, Lisa catches it in a second.
Yes. She's
so
like,
how
good.
long have you loved her?
Yes. I didn't pick up that the princess and Tom was now a couple. Like, I was like, what is going on here?
Catherine was younger than, at least for me, that she seemed. Because she seemed like early 20s or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing she was like somewhere in the teens.
I see. Yeah.
I'm rationalizing it in my head.
Yeah, that would make sense. Just a little bit. I was just shocked. I was just really shocked. I was like, of course, Magus and Catherine was gonna get together. That's what I thought, but no, that was a real twist. And he basically stayed because of his guilt for doing what he did to gargoyles. You know, encasing them in stone for 1,000 years, and he did this, by the way, for the princess.
Yeah.
So him being in this emotional purgatory, or this guilty feelings that he was having for so long, it was basically because of his love for the princess, which she did not return. So that was pretty sad. I was really sad for him. Then Elisa awakens King Arthur, Pendragon, right? I'm like, what?
Please tell me you were like, Avalon, right, King?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, now it makes sense. You know,
damn right. Yeah, that's who the Sleeping King is.
Not Oberon. Oh God. I know I'm the biggest fan of any stories to do with King Arthur, Merlin, and all of that. And this took me for a loop. I was like, what? Jaw drop. Now, with King Arthur in the mix, this is where the battle really begins. He immediately, hears the story of what they've been going through and is like down for it right away. And so, which is really cool. I mean, when you have one of the greatest kings of all time, actually says, "Oh, okay, well, I'll fight with you," but he is not with the tools that he usually has, which is Excalibur, and he doesn't have the magic of Merlin at his side, so he's a little, he's a little bit trepidatious about, getting into it. But boy, is it he glorious on the battlefield. Now, so we've got a lot of our characters section off. Magus goes off to face the sisters. For some reason, when he is close to the castle or this, I guess, shrine, didn't catch the name of what that shrine was, but
I think they mentioned it.
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think they mentioned there's a shrine on the island. When he's close to that place, he has more magical powers. That was something that they set up in this very episode. And Macbeth and King Arthur actually go toe to toe, which is like, what? This is really cool. Macbeth and King Arthur. This is a nerd's.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, this is like, what?
This is every nerd's dream.
Yes, this
Like
is
old school nerd.
fantasy. Yes. I mean, the only thing is that they're not fighting for my hand. That would be the other part of the fantasy.
This is legit. Like and I'm potentially going to spin a whole debate in the comment section.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. This is like the Superman versus Goku debate that we see going toe to toe. It's the same equivalent.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we got two different but similar genres, and also like the Titans, the Titans of historical battles, and so Goliath faces off with the Archmage Demona, attacking her own children and not realizing that's what she's doing. Very sad to see that happening, but
that's not something she would do.
No. The Magus really surprised me here because I didn't realize he had a lot more power than he initially let on. He was able to fend off the sisters. I mean, with a lot of struggle. He struggled, but he was able to catch them off guard quite a few times.
I'm glad he was able to figure out how to use the staff as a conduit, because he mentions that a little earlier when they go to wake up Arthur, that he can access the magic, because Avalon is magic.
Yes.
Whole island. It's just for someone like him, he needs a conduit, something to help focus the magic through it. And even then, it's still hard for him.
Yes.
He's putting in a lot of effort in this battle.
Yeah. You really root for him. You really root for him, especially after, having lost the princess. Just everything, and his guilt about what he did. The next piece of it, King Arthur and Macbeth, and there were moments where Macbeth really had the upper hand, but King Arthur came through, wiped the floor with him, and I'm like, Macbeth, Macbeth gave everybody a hard. They even mentioned that Goliath could not actually defeat. Yeah. That they came to a draw.
Lisa calls him right on that too. I mean, it was hardcore. She's like, "You've never actually defeated them." He's like, "Yeah, came to a draw, or we just foiled their plans."
Yes, I love it. It.
Technically, this is true for like 90% of like hero or basic, cartoon content. You never actually really defeat them.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's kind of interesting that you don't just use brute strength to defeat your enemy. It's always.
You're hearing my cat. I can.
Oh, it's so
cute. It's what we call noisy week.
And he doesn't actually, you don't actually beat your opponent with pure strength. Some kind of intellectual prowess must intervene, and that's how you kind of defeat your enemy. It's sort of the lesson, but also we would love for these guys to get a good spanking. And so King Arthur wipes the floor with Macbeth, even though I love Macbeth.
I said the quiet part out loud.
And the Magus actually does one final move to capture and chain the sisters and render them powerless, which is an incredible, heroic, and really fatal move. He faints after that. It looks like it was a fatal moment for him to do that last.
Yeah, using the armor to create the iron chains was a stroke of brilliance.
Yeah, because you needed something, yes.
Well, Fae are weak to iron. It like takes away their powers, or it can hurt them, which is why he did that.
Yeah, my heart goes out to him as a character. And then this fight between Goliath and the Archmage is epic. It's epic. I mean, that there's a scene where Goliath gets tossed into a watery river, and then the mage comes and puts ice on the river, and he's like, "Yeah,
it's like thick like a door. I mean,
yes,
he is comfortably standing on it."
Yeah, yes, and it's great. And then Goliath realizes that he has to remove the eye of Odin from him, because that's where he's really getting a lot of his power from. And so, with a lot of struggle, he does manage to do just that.
As soon as he takes the eye of Odin off, like the guy turns around and he has lost his glow up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm calling it. I'm sorry. It's the modern terms. I don't care.
Yes, no, that's perfect.
He automatically loses that glow up. The self tanner's gone. His beard has grown out. No fancy hat.
Took away all his contour.
I know, right? I hate that.
Yes. And because the eye of Odin was actually controlling everything, keeping everything together, the book that he ate starts to actually, all I could think of is eat him or go out of control. And so suddenly he is literally evaporated. It's just crazy. I'm like, what?
Heads up for anybody who still has a bit of PTSD from was it Infinity War? Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes.
Yeah. With the snap thing? Yeah, heads up here. Moms always tell you got to be careful what you eat.
Literally.
I'm done, I'm sorry.
In this case, yeah. Literally in this case. No. We love those jokes around here. If you're thinking that this is just for kids, I'm like, no. There are stakes. People are dying in this.
This legit is like, and maybe it's just me, but for me, it definitely brings like that first Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, yeah.
Mind? Raiders of the Lost Ark. Because there's a lot of scenes that you're like, oh.
Yeah,
especially watching it today, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like Duncan's death. Oh my God, that was like insanity. Yeah, that was insanity. And this is a close second. I almost felt bad for the poor troublemaker, but he was it was brutal. So unfortunately, this made me cry a little. Magus dies, and he didn't even, tell the princess how he felt about her. But she really loves him. But I believe as a friend, a confidant, somebody she trusts, but not in the same romantic way.
And seriously, this is one of those things I want to mention, because all the guys that always wind up talking about being in the friend zone. Homie was in the friend zone for 1,000 years. Did not say a word. Listen.
Okay. Friend zone. Oh my goodness.
Literally 1,000 years he was in the friend zone.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. He was, and what another thing I really loved was that Goliath was there to free him of his guilt or
Mhm.
that he had for doing what he did. And I love that he was felt there was a sense of redemption for not the fact that he's really redeemed himself 1,000 times over the years, but he also got to
He
die knowing that
yeah,
it was
that he was forgiven for it because we really don't like him in the beginning.
yeah,
He's a kind of a jerk in the beginning when we
yes.
first see him. And for this whole character arc that we get with him, it's fantastic for both him
Uh,
and Catherine. For him to go through recognize, and I gotta say from one of the first times, we finally get to see somebody recognize how their actions really hurt this whole situation and led up to the
yes.
massacre and all of that. Good on him.
Yes, absolutely. Let's have a moment of silence for Magus. Sorry, it's a cartoon.
We didn't
Sorry.
specify how long the moment was.
Yeah, it was a moment. Then we get the goodbyes from everybody. I thought at this point, honestly, that they were all going to go to New York, or either everybody was going to go to Avalon, and sort
They're
of.
already there.
I mean, no, well, they were gonna go bring everybody from New York to Avalon,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
so I was like, okay, this could be a safe space for them to be. You know, it's away from the regular world, and they can continue to be on the island and stay safe.
Yeah,
So
it's also away from Elisa, and she's got a job and a family in New York, so that's not gonna fly with Goliath. He
yeah,
Goliaths.
so true.
Yeah, I'm hope y'all are used to this by now.
So even King Arthur says he wants to leave the island and go to the modern world, and so he goes off on his own. And I am so curious as to what happens to his story because specifically for what we learn at the very end, we're going to get there. But Gabriel offers Goliath to stay on Avalon, but he is burdened with the purpose of having humans and gargoyles live together in peace. That's something that he's always wanted. And so, whether or not he can actually get it or not, I think as an audience member, we're like, I don't think so. But this is something he wants desperately, and so we kind of root for him to get that in some way or form. And Angela decides to go with him, which is really cool. So the next piece of it is that Goliath makes a deal with the sisters to free Macbeth and Demona of their spells. They say that they will not remember anything since the spell was cast weeks ago, and that settles any questions as to their origin story, all of the stuff that happened a long, 1,000 years ago.
Give them back free will.
Yeah, yes. And so that was fantastic. They're going to hate the fact that they're on a boat together when they wake up.
I'm hoping they get them separated first.
Yes. When they wake up and they find each other, they're like, they're going to try to fight each other, but they have to be nice to each other because what happens to one happens to the other. Let's see.
Just thinking how awkward that would be, to wake up with no memory right next to the person you hate the absolute most.
Yes, yes. And you can't beat them up because what happens to them
I'd
happens to
still
you.
do it. I'm with Macbeth on that
Like,
on that one.
like,
I
oh
don't care.
God.
I don't care if it hurts me, if it hurts you too.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and he has to definitely stay away from her because of her transformation. That could really be quite
That would
painful.
suck.
Yeah, and they do this in exchange for freedom. The Weird Sisters. There's also a question: what happens to the Weird Sisters? Where do they go? What are their plans? Are they still going to be protecting Avalon? So that's going to be interesting to find out. Any spoilers or light, gentle?
Okay, light, gentle. Yes, we do see them again.
Okay, okay, great.
There's a reason why I love this trio, and seriously, one of these days, I am gonna have to get 3 matching Barbie dolls or something, and just make my own set.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I love. They're really cool.
Especially in these gowns. I love these gowns.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, they finally take off, but while they're leaving, two things happen. One, Elisa notices that Goliath takes the Eye of Odin and the Phoenix Gate with him. He wants to keep those things himself, so that way nobody is going to use them again. And I was like, okay, well maybe you could bury it somewhere on the island, but he doesn't have access to, to Avalon all the time. So I
And
suppose.
there was the chance that somebody could find the island, and I don't know. I'm trying to come up with his reasoning.
Yeah. So I think for him, he's personally taken upon himself to be the guardians of these items, which is
It
essentially,
worked so well last time.
yeah. Yes. You need to put a lock on those guys, okay?
Bringing a locked cabinet or something.
Yeah, preferably with like a code or something that,
Lisa, you know about locking up dangerous weapons? Talk to him.
yeah. And then the next thing is that Tom tells him that Avalon takes you where you need to be, not
Not
where
where
you
you
want to
want to
go.
go. That's in as much of a spoiler as I'm going to get for the next undetermined number of episodes.
Okay.
They are not going back to New York.
Yeah.
And these ones coming up are definitely fun. There are some that stick in my head more than others.
Okay.
After not having watched it for undetermined, I'm not admitting to number of years. Nobody do the math, thank you. But yeah, there are some that are definite favorites among those, but they're all leading up to one I am eager to get to. You've heard me talk about it,
Okay.
a bit. There is, I think it's like the next major multi-part episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can
believe-
maybe find something. The Gathering?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that is episode 44 and 45. That's in week 15.
It's a way off.
Yeah.
But still,
Hmm.
The Gathering is by far
I can't wait.
one of my favorites.
I can't wait. If it's anything like this, I can't wait. I can't
Mhm.
wait. This was really great.
We just have a lot of stuff to go through to prep for The Gathering.
Yes. And as we know, these guys are just master craftsmen as far as piecing together all of these stories. I think this grouping of stories for Avalon, you don't really need to see everything in the show. You don't have to see the earlier episodes to catch on because they do provide you a lot of backstory. But if you have, it's going to mean so much more.
Especially with these multi-part episodes. Yeah, you can definitely have missed episodes and stuff. And they at the beginning they do recap you, so you've got that mental refresher because again, these were a long period in waiting, not like we're doing them in like rapid fire succession.
Mhm. This was great. This was great. This is fantastic. I guess this is gonna be it for this session.
Yep.
And so we have homework for week 10. We're getting up there. And so this is also still going for season 2. We've got 4 episodes next week. Shadows of the Past, episode 24, episode 25, Heritage, episode 26, Monsters, and episode 27, Golem. And maybe some of the episodes may be numbered differently, but at least for sure, the names of the episode are the ones that's the most important. That will be all for today. And I want to thank Mama Bear Art Doll for joining me on this really awesome, epic journey that we're on. And we still have a lot more. So see you guys next week.
Okay. Later.
Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry that there's no picture. I'm really exhausted today. It's been a really long day at work and rushed back for this. This is really, I had so much fun. My cheeks are hurting from smiling and laughing this whole time. But I will let you guys know. Let me just see. This is the homework again, so that way we are all caught up. You guys can take a look at that, and we'll discuss these next week. It'll be a lot of fun. We had so we've had so much fun with these, and it really seems like we're having more and more fun as we continue. And let's see, Moonbeam says, and we have retro. Yes, you're so sweet. And Unicorn says, seriously, lots of smiling. Yes. and Mama Bear Art Doll says we do play off each other well. Yes. Yeah, we just have a good time, and I don't know, especially this show is really good too. It's just there's just a wonderful show, and so just so great that when we talk about these things, we actually connect on them. We agree on a lot of the stuff, and also we seem to like a lot of similar things. And Moonbeam says, I have May in the can, and part of June. Okay. So yeah, we are gonna be doing this next week, and I hope to see you guys all here. I'm gonna close things out so I can get some extra rest, and I'll be nice and ready for the watch party on Saturday. Yes, Saturday we're having a watch party. The event is going to be The Great Gatsby 1974. I haven't seen this movie in quite a few years. It's actually a really good movie I like. It's got an interesting tone. You've got the high life of the 1920s, and you also have sort of a tragic love story situation, but it's well acted and beautifully composed in that film. So I hope that you will join me for that wonderful little watch party that we're gonna have. And what else is there? Oh, next week there's gonna be a lot going on next week. So keep your eyes open. I will let you know all the details as they start to unfold and we get closer to it. But next week is gonna be insane, and I hope you guys be following me the whole ride. We're gonna have some really great conversations, I'll tell you that. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves.